Grizzly. At Grizzly, we believe charging your electric vehicle should be simple, reliable, and affordable. That's why we design, engineer, and build our chargers in Canada, ensuring top-tier quality and performance. Powered by United Chargers, every Grizzly model is crafted in-house, built to withstand extreme conditions, and tested for reliability. Recognized by leading publications for its performance and value, Grizzly delivers both durability and intelligence with heavy-duty aluminum enclosures, premium output cables, and smart charging features like scheduling, usage tracking, and OCPP compatibility with multiple charging apps. Grizzly. Simple, reliable, affordable, built for every climate, every EV, everywhere you go. Visit grizzly.com to learn more.
Hello and welcome to the Batteries Included podcast, Friday, September 19th, 2025, episode 106 if you're keeping count. Today, Cadillac Optiq gets bigger and better and more range. Have they sorted out the charging? We'll find out. The upcoming death of the EV incentives, and Rivian beginning construction of its Georgia Gigafactory again. And of course, much, much more. I'm Martin Lee from the EV News Daily podcast and now EV News China as well, if you're interested. Joining us today, Dominic Yoni, longtime EV journalist, host of the YouTube channel Drive Electric with Dominic. You can see Tom Malogany from State of Charge and senior editor at Inside EVs is joining us from a mystery location, and a very special guest this week. He's been so busy and we're all really impressed with what he's been up to as well. Andrew Lambrecht is the project engineer at an EV sales platform, contributor, a writer to Inside EVs, Forbes, Business Insider, and more, and finishing off a degree recently in industrial engineering and an internship at Lucid. So, Andrew, it's so good to have you back. And, Andrew, thank you. You're in San Francisco, but you look like it's not 6 o'clock in the morning there.
Yes, I'm surviving off of some caffeine, so we're good.
But you got to drive to work in less traffic, I presume, so...
Correct. Yes, the traffic was fine, so that's saving grace this morning.
Oh, thank you, sir. We are so grateful. The audience are grateful that you've jumped in on this one because we've got a lot to talk about. And Tom, I didn't check with you before the show. I don't know whether we can even say the name of the thing that you're working on or not.
No, actually, we really can't. I just jumped in to say hi and say hi to everybody. You know, we always appreciate everybody comes in early in the morning to watch the podcast each week. And I see somebody said, hi, everyone. No Kyle today. No, there's no Kyle today. Kyle's actually here with me. We're both doing a drive of a new vehicle that we can't talk about yet, unfortunately. And we probably won't be able to for over a month. So, yeah, it's and the good thing about it is there's only 3 of us that are getting this drive. Kyle, myself, Ooh. And somebody from another news outlet. So should be fun. And we will be driving all day. So that should give you an idea of what we're doing. And it's going to be a long day. And I'm out here on California time right now. So I'm, a little south of Andrew at an undisclosed location. Unfortunately, I can't hang around to say hi because I'm literally going to be driving in about 10 minutes. We're going to head out. We're trying to beat the traffic and get out to areas where we can have some more fun with the vehicle before it gets so congested here. But I wanted to say hi to everybody and thank everyone for making an effort to watch us each week. And we'll talk about this when I can talk about it. And with that, I'm going to take off. And you're in good hands. Thanks for joining and picking up the slack for us this week, Andrew. With Kyle and I not being allowed to be here, we always appreciate your filling in and your thoughts on EVs and so forth. So take care, everybody. And I'll see you all next week.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Good to see you.
Have fun.
Amazing. We can't say what he's doing. And it's not even an imminent one either. So, yeah, it's really special. A really special vehicle. And a very important vehicle for this manufacturer. Like I say, it's not even around the corner. So to get in some seat time is brilliant. Now, yeah, we can't even talk about next week, can we? So he said a month. Woo!
I'm so curious.
Right. So,
yeah.
1 second.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just gonna say, so Kyle's with him, but and it's kind of secret what he is doing there. But what he is also doing while he's over that way is he just posted on this. I can share this right now.
Is he
Just
publicly
really,
posted it? Okay.
just really quickly. He's with Motor Trend.
Oh,
doing
cool.
some SUV of the year testing, and he's got just posted this little clip of the Lucid Gravity on a very wet skid pad, just drifting like crazy.
Is it him driving?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah,
He's handy, isn't he? He's not bad.
yeah.
I was
I'm
watching.
trying
I
to
think-
make out. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Carry on.
I was gonna say I'm trying to make out if that's Lucid's test track. I don't want to say
Oh.
though, but it
I
might
don't
be.
think so. I
Where's
think it's
that
in
at?
the middle. I think
That
it's
could be Southern Cal.
I think it's SoCal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
I see
dude-
the cactus.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you drive like this, Andrew?
Yeah, usually I do.
I mean, not like a normal, but I mean, do you have any like performance driving experience? Because you have your hands at like so many things. I just thought maybe, just wondering if you do that kind of stuff. I don't.
I'm trying to think. I was at a test track in Slovenia earlier this summer, and it was like this torque vectoring kind of demo.
Oh, sweet.
These Hyundai
Nice.
Ioniq 5s. It was with a Lafay's electric powertrain, and I did take it on the track, and I did drift. The thing is that I've realized it is way harder to drift than it looks. So like it looks so easy. You're like, oh yeah, I can.
Right.
And then when you actually do it, I'm like, well, I am really bad at this. So
Yeah.
I got to ride along too in the drifting, but a little bit. So I'm sure
Good one.
Kyle Connor has done multitudes more driving experience like that than I have.
He's not bad,
Well-
is he? He's
Well,
handy.
Kyle's moved back to the East Coast, and I think he's not that far from where you are. So I don't know. I think you guys should meet up, and you should maybe try to take advantage of his track somehow.
That would be awesome, but unfortunately, I've moved out to California now, so
Oh,
it's
right.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I'll be back sometime.
Like passing ships. Everyone in the comments reckons R2. So 10 Lawn Gnome says R2 would be a huge get.
Oh, yeah.
Greg says R2, and lots of people in the comments are saying, Electric Brian says, yeah, that's R2. Well, look, we can't possibly say. I mean, they're in the right part of the world for it, I suppose, ish, to do some testing. I don't know. We'll wait and see. We can't even talk about it next week. It's going to be ages. Yeah.
Gary Bushy in the comments says he grew up on dirt roads. You do that all the time. It's talking about the drifting sideways, which is kind of. I grew up in Canada, and we in the wintertime we have a lot of snowy conditions. So a lot of Canadians end up dealing with drifting sideways too, but not usually on purpose necessarily.
Okay. Right. Let's get into
Right.
it. Andrew, Andrew, last time we spoke to you, you'd wrapped up your Lucid, you'd wrapped up your studies. Now you've moved over to the West Coast, and so people may have seen you on YouTube because the channel is called Evercars Official. The branding is Ever, EVER. You're a project engineer at Ever, but the videos you've been putting together, it's like over 30 in the last month. It's almost 40 in the last month. You've been so busy covering the Jag I-Pace and Honda Prologue. Some of them are reviews, some of them are deals, some of them are comparison videos, but you're always with the vehicle. Like
Look at this.
This is the dream for anyone who loves EVs. So tell us the deal of how you're getting to be up close and personal with so many EVs in such a short space of time.
Sure, yeah. So I work there as an engineer, and one thing that we noticed is we really need to beef up our media presence because we're like similar to like Carvana, to where we have like a big inventory of cars, and we're also only electric cars. So we need to kind of like show the audience and just consumers that like, hey, we know a lot about EVs. This is why you should come to us to test drive, to purchase your next vehicle, etc. And just having a media presence is really big. And so since we have an inventory of around 400 cars right now, we have like pretty much every trim, every make, model. I mean, we don't have like a Rolls-Royce Spectre, but we got maybe like 10 different trims of the i4, for instance. So I can just go out into the back lot, get my tripod, and we can record a bunch of comparisons, reviews, and stuff like that. So it's been really cool to like just drive all these cars back to back to back and just kind of like understand the nuances and feel these cars firsthand.
So is it as simple as saying to the boss, "Hey, can I take this one home for the night for research purposes?"
Correct.
Oh, amazing!
So, yeah, so I'll just, if there's like a car, because usually I need to prep them too, so I'll clean them off a little bit and then get some impressions and then eventually record the long form video. But it's been really cool because I've driven like pretty much everything on the market now, and even like some of the weird ones. Like I can get weird trims because with press cars they always give you like the highest trim level. They're like, here's a Nissan Aria Platinum Plus, like the highest level, and that doesn't give you, I guess Dom left and they give you this highest trim level, and then that doesn't really give you like an accurate impression of the other trim levels, because like for some cars, like the highest trim, for instance Taycan, if you like, the press cars are going to have pretty much every option, the Burmester sound system, adaptive cruise control, and then you drive a base model and you're like, what am I driving? Like this thing has a 100-watt sound system, no adaptive cruise control. So it's really cool to kind of see those nuances between like high trim levels and low trim levels.
Yeah, we had the base when the ID3 first came out, very early. Whatever the base trim, and I forget the names of ID3. We had a base one for a period of time, and my wife, who's not into cars, was like, "Cool, this is nice, like the price of a Polo or something. I could have one of these." And I said, "No, ID3 is Golf level," and she was sort of tapping the hard plastics and looking around being like, "There's this, what?" So yeah, you need to drive base trim sometimes to work out, and obviously that was a lot of that was inherent to the ID3. That's being fixed. It's been fixed a little bit, and then next year a proper mid-cycle refresh of ID3, where it may be renamed. No, it'll probably be called ID3. I think it's the ID4 they might call ID Tiguan next year, but ID3 will probably stick with the name. But they've, look, all the materials have been changed. Steering wheel is a proper Golf wheel with hard buttons and stuff, so proper buttons. So yeah, like you need to drive those base ones to work out what's good and what's bad. But let's talk about what's top end for you. What have you driven that's really impressed?
So there's a few cars that have like really impressed me, and I think one right there you're showing is the Audi e-tron S. I love the e-tron. I really think the e-tron is like one of the best value used EVs on the market, because you can get them for under $25,000 now, especially like 2020s, 2021s, and they're like $80K MSRP, and you just get in there. The interior quality is incredible. You got like ventilated leather seats if you got the premium plush trim and above. You have lane centering on the highway, adaptive cruise control. I really think the e-trons are some of the best values. Now, would I buy one myself? I would definitely consider one, but I would probably want to get an extended warranty because they do have drive motor issues on the e-trons. So sometimes the drive motors don't get any coolant to them and then they can fail, which is not great. But other than that, I mean, they're phenomenal cars. I think BMW i4 M50 is a great car too. Those ones are really, they seem to hold on to their value pretty well for, at least for EVs. So they're like $40,000 range used. So they're pretty cool too. I mean, I'm trying to think about what else. I mean, you have like the usual suspects. Like I always think Model Y is still a great used option, but like not that crazy in any regard. And then probably Nissan Aria too was very luxurious. So if you get the Platinum, you get like ventilated Napa leather seats, hands-free highway driving, like really surprisingly nice. I think it's a lot more premium than like Mach-E, Model Y, ID4, all them. So that's a surprisingly nice car. Not that fun to drive because the torque response is very muted. So,
Really?
Yeah. So even though it makes 389 horsepower, you floor the accelerator and it doesn't feel that quick at all. You're like, all right, are we accelerating? So that was an interesting one.
I feel like they think that's a feature. Like they did that on purpose because they, I think they, just think that's a comfortable, mature kind of way to drive, I guess. I don't know.
I think so too. And it's interesting because I think the Nissan Leaf actually has a more responsive accelerator pedal than the Nissan Aria, which is interesting. So even though it's slower, it does feel a little quicker off the line.
Cool. Well, news this week that our listeners, viewers may not have seen. Nissan is pulling the Aria from the US market after the 2025 model year. So Aria won't be sold as a new vehicle in the US next year. They're putting it down to a combination of slow sales and the 15% import tariff on Japanese-made vehicles and the expiration of $7,500 federal tax credit. New Leaf, of course, is coming soon. It's not a like-for-like vehicle replacement, but yeah, sad on the Aria. Great vehicle. Really great vehicle.
But it's suspended, really. It's not like canceled completely. So it could come back, they say. It sounds like they want it to come back, but I don't know.
Tom's in the comments. Oh, hang on, that's the wrong one. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Urban. Tom's in the comments. Not driving a Lucid, but he will have a Gravity soon for range testing. That's cool. Yeah, we're looking forward to. Well, Tom's not looking forward to the range testing. Although he may not do it himself. He may offload that actual range test. 'Cause
Right.
That's going to go forever.
Can we just ask Tom everything everything it isn't, and then we'll just eventually get to that car? Like, is it a Tesla? No. Is this a Hyundai?
No. So, okay, all right. Well, he still leaves us intrigued. All right. Oh, and so obviously you're working somewhere that has a ton of stock. Is it tempting to then find, I don't know, something that's got a bit of a bargain to get something yourself from there or something else? Or what's the deal with your own car at the moment?
I know where this is going because I talked with Dom about this. And so the car that I'm really interested in getting, so I currently drive a Model 3, which I think is a great car. It's a lot of fun. But the one car I've had my eye on is a Dodge Charger Daytona. So the lease deals are getting crazy. I got a lease offer on one for $286 a month, 10,000 miles a year, all in, California taxes, everything.
Wow.
Down payment, effectively $286 a month. So it's like around, I think it's about $3,700 down, $138 a month. But total effective price is $286 a month. And I'm like, okay, I feel like I would kind of be an idiot to not do that because A, the content opportunity, B, the write-off, and then C, it's a really good looking car. So yes, I know they have issues, but I think that would be a really unique electric car because
What's your
not selling a ton.
Oh, yeah. What's your commute to work now in terms of
The
distance?
25 miles each way.
Okay, perfect. I mean, that's
Oh,
just
that's nice, yeah.
a fun morning drive, an evening drive, a blast home at the end of the day, and then you got your
Oh, yes.
weekends.
But so you're not put off by any of the bad reviews at all?
I think the bad reviews make me want it more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, because if
Like,
it had really, but if it had like really good reviews, I feel like the lease prices would be a lot more than they are. And considering the tax credits going away, I know that's another topic of discussion which we can get into. But tax credits going away, I mean, if it wasn't for the tax credit right now, obviously they would probably change around the pricing structure. But right now, it would be $286 a month plus $7,500 down. That would be my lease payment. And now,
Yeah.
since we get that tax credit, I mean, that shaves off $7,500 on the lease. So I think, especially with like right now is like the prime time to lease a Stellantis EV, especially Wagoneer S. Like those are going for even less than the Daytonas. I've heard in some
Really?
cases like under $200 a month with maybe around like $2,000 down, like right now.
Wagoneer is one of those ones we haven't really heard anything about. Like, I don't know if we've talked to anybody about, like, has Kyle or Tom even driven that thing yet?
I think Kyle
must have,
has.
Yeah, I think.
But I
he
think
has,
it was at like a dealership. I don't even think it was like a press car he got.
Yeah, it was like a small blip in history, and I think that car, yeah, it should, it needs a bit more exposure. The Charger, we were talking last night a little bit, and I said I went to the dealership and sat in it, and I'm like, "Are you sure? Have you driven this car yet?"
I have, yes.
Okay, okay.
So
Okay.
I've driven a couple of them. I've only driven the Scat Packs though, so I'm probably going to lease an RT just because the insurance on a Scat Pack is insane.
Oh.
Like I don't want to spend $500-$600 a month on insurance. That would be
No.
not great. So
So, okay, the one I sat in, I just sat in it, but I didn't drive anywhere. But just sitting in it and going through the displays, I found that the software was super laggy.
mhm.
Like, is that your experience as well?
Yes, I think.
Okay.
I think it's better than some systems out there. Like it's better than Nissan, I felt, but definitely not as good as like BMW's iDrive, and nowhere near like Tesla or Rivian. Like it's definitely not a software-defined vehicle.
Right.
I'm just buying it because it looks cool.
Right. I mean, I love the way it looks. Yeah, I think it
Does
looks
look cool.
very cool. Exactly, and yeah, but it's just an interesting choice. I feel like it's maybe I feel like it's an old man's car, and you're not really an old man, really.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, I don't think you can really like generalize who buys that car because they're not selling many of them. I mean, they're selling a decent amount. They're actually outselling the ID Buzz, which is surprising in the United States because people are like, this is a failure, but it's actually selling a little bit better than ID Buzz.
Right.
So, but
I
I don't
mean,
even
that's
know who is the target audience for this car because it's like the
right.
muscle car people don't like it. And the EV people, I feel like it's not really what an EV buyer would want. So I don't know. It's interesting, but that's good because now people don't like it that much, and the lease prices are coming down, and now I swoop in. So that's how it
Right.
works.
Mark points out a story that I reported on the EV News Daily podcast, which was we might have even talked about it last week when I was missing on this show, which was he says Minnesota guy. I thought this was Canada, but anyway. Yeah, somebody
Oh yeah.
got a ticket for having a non-compatible muffler or something. And he was like, dude, it's electric. And the cop didn't want to hear it and gave him a ticket. Like, okay, well, you got to go to the judge or the courthouse and argue your case. I think you'll win it. But still, a faff. Okay, let's get into the news then. So the first deliveries of the Cadillac Optiq began in the US earlier this year, but now that it's getting more powerful motors and a rear-wheel drive trim for 2026 that's more powerful than the old all-wheel drive and native NACS. So the all-wheel drive trim was around 300 horsepower. The base 2026 Optiq will be rear-wheel drive at 315 horsepower. Dual motor bumps things up from 300 to 440 horsepower, which is a huge increase. If that's not enough power, the Optiq V performance version will be available in 2026 model year as well, and it offers 519 horsepower. So the official EPA range figures aren't out yet. Cadillac says rear-wheel drive trim, think around 300 miles, and so the dual motor, 280 miles maybe. Optiq V, make your adjustments. 85 kilowatt hour pack remains. Starting price MSRP for rear-wheel drive Optiq, $50,000, is $2,000 less than the base trim at the moment. You can add the go all-wheel drive for $3,500. Of course, the Optiq V is all-wheel drive already. We'll talk a little bit about some other Chevy stuff, but in a moment, and trims. But Dom, what did you make of that when you saw the news this week?
I'm not really sure what to make of this. It's the weirdest thing, this thing just came out in January, right, for the first time, and then the second model year is getting a complete motor upgrade, but it's the only one that I think that does. So this is like the Equinox EV, it's like the Cadillac version of the Equinox, kind of, in a way. It's just a slightly smaller actually than the Equinox in all dimensions, and it's of course not the same bodywork. But the Equinox is not getting new motors or doesn't have any, high performance options coming for this next model year. And I don't think I can't find any other Ultium models that do. So this is like an Optiq only upgrade after the first year. And I've just never seen anything like this in all the years I've been doing this. It's kind of, I have no idea what's going on here. And if anyone, maybe who's our GM connection here in the comments, they'll have an idea, or maybe Andrew, you have a clue what's up with this.
Yeah, it's very strange to go. I mean, because the one that came out right now is like fine. Like I think 315 horsepower all-wheel drive is like, that's fine for that car. That's honestly probably a little bit more than what you need. But now the base model rear drive is more horsepower than that, and now the all-wheel drive's 440 horsepower. It's like, that's insane for like a relatively small, normal-sized electric crossover. So, but it is pretty crazy to go from that gigantic power boost on a car that was already pretty good. And we see this with other Ultium products too, because I know at least with like Honda Prologue from 2024, it was like 288 horsepower in all-wheel drive, and then they boosted it to 300 for 2025 model year. So it seems like they're doing these power upgrades throughout most of their cars. So
yeah, So Brennan
very
says
interesting.
rear-wheel drive, Blazer rear-wheel drive powertrain. Apologies. Let me pop you back on screen so we're not over your face. There we go. So since the rear-wheel drive is being dropped. Okay, interesting. Yeah, this is like China speed. This is, because China will release a vehicle and then 6 months later upgrade it. And, hey, he's back.
Yeah, Nebula's back.
Nebula says you're on the Optiq. Yeah, we are on the Optiq.
Yeah.
This is China speed. And that's a double-edged sword, actually, when releasing upgrades to a car after 6 months. So that happened this recently in China with the I want to say L9 Envo, I think, or maybe it's the Neo. So it wasn't the sub brand; it was the Neo. Oh, hang on, no, I'm thinking something else. That's the ES8, Neo ES8. So
you're our third gen of ES8 after like 5 years or something.
Yeah. So the new Neo ES8 is the best I can describe it as is a Range Rover. So it's a 3-row Range Rover. It's a Rivian R1S, but it's got softer lines, a very high bonnet line that goes straight down. Very conventional look to the Neo ES8, but it's a big SUV. It's a big 6-person 2+2+2 vehicle, full of luxury. First and second row, heated, ventilated massage seats, power seats on the third row, powered seats. That will lay back even on the third row and stuff. So look, I'm trying to illustrate to you super luxury on that vehicle, and they just updated it not so long ago, and then another refresh now. And so there's quite a vocal Neo community in China that are like, you just killed my residual values on the outgoing one. And they reduced the price by something crazy like $10,000 equivalent for the new ES8. And William Lee, the head of Neo's, kind of along the lines of, I've got my hands are tied. We either sell EVs or we don't. And if we don't sell EVs, there will be no Neo. So then you'll be in the case of Fisker, and you'll have a vehicle that's no good to anyone, these connected vehicles, if we go bust. And Neo is one of the biggest, but it's looking over his shoulder. Or we update our cars. And so maybe Cadillac's in that boat, which is, we need to get the best vehicle out we can now, even if it really pees off the people who literally just bought one. And then the new one is, but I don't know if this is the same, because in China they just put them on sale. They're like, right, here's the new one, it go. So I don't know if this is an announcement that you can go get it today, Dom. I didn't see all the news on this one, but
It's a 2026 model, so it's coming soon. It'll be in showroom soon.
okay, so again, US is different with things like dealer stock, and so then there'll be deals on the old one, and then the new one may be more expensive, and so there's more of a crossover period outside of China. I think I gather from that perspective. So you're more likely to know what you're getting into. But yeah, big upgrade after so little time is China speed.
It's interesting too how they mix around front and rear wheel drive on these Ultium products. So you have the Equinox, which is front drive, which is all, you can also get it all-wheel drive, and then the Optiq, same platform, is rear drive, and then you can also get all-wheel. So it's interesting how, and I think the Blazer was the first car in history that offered all powertrain configurations. So it's kind of cool.
Front wheel drive or rear wheel drive, I think the rear wheel drive was a little bit more expensive than the front wheel drive version, but
Yeah, that was really interesting too. So you had to pay extra to get the rear drive, but then it did make more horsepower. But then that was the only one that you could get Super Cruise on. So it's like, oh my gosh. And that's the one thing when you're trying to find a used Blazer, it's like, how do I even look for one? Because it's like you want one thing, but you can't, that's mutually exclusive. So yeah, it's kind of a mess.
Right.
Cool. Well, that's a great improvement, and the price lowers by a couple of $1,000 as well for at least to get into one, which is amazing. So around that 50K, you're right in ID4, a bit higher than ID4, but dimensions wise and competitive set ID4, Model Y, obviously Model Y, Audi Q4 e-tron, Volvo EX40, Genesis GV60, and then you can get some slightly different form factors of things like Kia EV6s and Ioniq 5. So around 50K, really, really hyper competitive. I'm not surprised. They thought, let's get the best EV out we possibly can. Honda Prologue sells a ton, but they've been doing really good finance deals on it. So yeah, very, very competitive. So it's hard to stand out sometimes around that price, at least in the US market. Talking of pricing, federal incentives on new EVs go, the $4,000 incentive on used EVs ends in 11 days. So you need to have a binding contract in place and have made a payment towards the vehicle on or before the 30th in 11 days time. So that then binds you into a contract to buy the vehicle. I did have a quick look on the IRS site, but I couldn't find an answer. If anyone in the comments has an answer, if there is an upper time limit, so if you do the deal and then Tesla say, well, waiting list is 6 months, like as long as I think you're in line. Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong on that, Dom.
I think you need a binding contract, so it's not just a deposit or a reservation. You have to actually have like a legally enforceable contract.
Yeah, but how long till you get the vehicle in your driveway? Because everyone was panicked about getting the vehicle in the driveway, keys in their hand in 11 days' time. Now the IRS have given you leeway to wait.
I think if you can, I don't know. I think dealers could really take advantage of the situation and drop like legally binding contracts if there's no upper limit on the date of how long this is available. I mean, the 2032, I believe, is the ultimate availability date, but but if you put money down, you have a binding contract. I don't know if they can deny you the incentive, like if you only get the car in January.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
But I don't know if you can actually.
I did have a look.
Do that, so you have
there's only so much time on the IRS website you can spend, so I didn't find an answer. But there's got to be an upper limit of if they say, well, it takes 6 months to get your car. Like, if you go back to post-lockdown times when supply chains were knackered, then I remember seeing 18 months on a waiting list for an Audi e-tron, maybe? Around that post-pandemic time, waiting lists were huge. A year was common for Tesla back in the day. And so we're not far away from when people were waiting a long time for EVs. So get the deal done. Get the money off, and then you're in line, and then you still get. There are obviously eligibility rules for new buyers, gross income $300K, for married couples filing jointly $225, for household heads $150, other filers. For used EVs, it's different as well. New EVs MSRP below $80K for vans, SUVs, and pickups, $55K for other vehicles. Used EVs $25,000. But as Andrew, you said, $25K for a used EV. You mentioned the e-tron a minute ago. Like, you can get a car that is still new to you, not that old, and for under 25 grand, some amazing used EV deals because of depreciation. So, I'm not fully up to speed on what Evercars do, but I gather you got a lot of stock there. So clearly this federal tax credit is an issue probably close to the heart of your colleagues there.
Yeah, so I think we thought this was going to be a big issue in the beginning, but then when we look at our numbers, some of our fastest selling cars, for instance, are not cheap at all. So like Taycans sell really quickly,
really,
which is interesting. Ford F-150 Lightning sell really quickly. And a lot of our cars that are under $25,000, there's a few things. So I guess maybe just being in the San Francisco Bay Area, people just generally make more money here. So if you're a single filer, it's $75,000 upper income limit. And a lot of people in the Bay tend to make over that. So that is one of the things. And the other thing too is just like, yeah, with our fastest selling cars, it's like not the cars that qualify for the tax rate. No, some cars do, like the Polestars. When they get under 25K, they sell really, really quickly. But then when you get like a little bit lower than that, it's like people aren't busting down the door to buy Nissan Leafs for $20,000 or $16,000 with the tax incentive. So actually a very small minority of the cars we sell are tax credit eligible. So we think there will probably be some normalization that will occur within that price range. So a lot of dealers tend to list their cars. I believe it's illegal in California, but a lot of dealers list their cars with that tax credit included. So you have a $20,000 Chevy Bolt and they'll say it's $16,000 on the website. Now, I think consumers will get irritated with that in the other state when that tax credit goes away, because dealers are like, oh, actually it's 20K now. And then you're like, wait, what's going on here? Like, you said it was 16, and the dealers probably don't want to take a big loss on them. So that will be interesting. But we can safely assume that those values will come down because consumers were used to paying that price with the tax credit included, $4,000 off, and now it's just going to be taken away from them. So someone's going to be losing money on some of those cars. Now, for cars above $25,000, it probably shouldn't make much of a difference at all. So, and it's probably more dependent on the region in which you live. So maybe in higher income states where most buyers will make more money than that tax credit threshold, the values may not have as big of an effect as they would in, say, other states where income might be more of an issue.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about the state issue. I can certainly talk to the global issue because EV News Daily is a global podcast. I do cover all areas. Now, the United Kingdom has not had any kind of financial incentive, a direct government incentive, for many years now. We used to, and it disappeared. We became Europe's top EV market. It used to be Germany, and we flip-flop with Germany, depending on monthly sales. And the UK's done really well without any kind of direct government help.
Wow.
There are clearly some other reasons to get an EV. There's some really big tax implications. If you have an EV through your employer, if you get anything from them, like healthcare, which we don't need because we have a national health service here, so that's not as common in terms of healthcare. You can, some jobs do give you sort of private dental or something, but we don't tend to have that. But either things that help you out to get some nice perks. The government, of course, want their tax on that. They call it a benefit in kind. And so to get a combustion car, you're paying 25% plus of the retail RRP or MSRP of that out of your pocket for the benefit of having a car. It used to be 0, and then it's going to go 1%, 2%, and just ramp up with EVs. So it's a no-brainer to have an EV through your employer because you're not paying any penalty out of your personal paycheck at the end when the taxes are taken off. As a perk of having a car that at the weekend you can then do your errands around, and it's the boss's car. So having a company car, so that's a big incentive. But in terms of, I'm talking about money on the hood or money off, we haven't had that. So Germany got rid of theirs. The market really wobbled. Germany just hit its record in August, and it took a year and a half to come back. There's a lot of people online, Dom. I don't know if you've seen this, Dom. A lot of people are really like doom-mongering about the US market. Where do you stand on it? Because people are, China, the September numbers for China are tracking to be almost 60% plug-in. So that's BEV and plug-in hybrid. And that's China, the world's biggest car market. It's insane. Europe is 25% plus or minus. And we're evolving into this kind of 3-state system, really, where you've got China over here, you've got Europe and the rest of the world, and the United States, which is going to, I think, play catch up when technology and political climates might change or buyer preferences might change. It's around 10%, give or take, in the US. And I've seen people saying, well, it's going to be like, 4% in the US of new car sales, and EVs are going to come off a cliff. What do you think?
And we're at 10% right now?
Yeah.
So 4% that's like less than half. I think that's just way too low. I really don't think that's, that would, I can't rule out what could possibly happen because, who can predict the future, but so there's going to be a pull forward a bit. So everyone who wants to buy a car is, an EV, especially if they're looking at EVs, they're going to buy now, like in the month of September. So the month of October and November, I think those sales are going to be pretty slow for sure. So we might dip down close to that in those months. But like, Andrew was saying, not everyone really can benefit from the incentive to begin with. So there's a whole consumer audience out there that's, not really dependent on the incentive anyway. But yeah. And so this will be a chance actually to see too for, and manufacturers may decide that, okay, they're going to make up for some of this this incentive going away and make their own discounts. Like, so you were just talking about in the UK, you have you don't have an incentive there, but you have one coming in actually, and in ahead. So while manufacturers are kind of waiting to see if they're going to be eligible for, like, I think it's like $1,500, or it's in pounds, but it's around, I don't know, $15,000 or $2,000, and then $3,000. There's a couple different levels. So while they're waiting for those to see which cars have eligibility, manufacturers are putting down their own, like, before you, so don't have to wait for this incentive. Here's your incentive. The manufacturers are kind of doing that up front in the months ahead of that coming out. So maybe they'll take a similar track here because they still market share is important. and so you want people buying the cars, even if you have to take a hit on your profit margins.
Yeah, you're right. So
So
what we've got coming in is a version of France's bonus écologique, which is based around emissions as well. So the government grant we've got coming in, you get more money if the car is greener. So if in terms of the energy used to make it, where it was made, shipped around the world, and it is a way, without saying it out loud, it's a way of things like the Nissan. Nissan have a big plant in the north of our country, in a city called Sunderland, where the Leaf has always been made, where the batteries are made, the other side of the road, and so lower CO2 emissions. We have a lot of renewables on our grid, very windy in the UK, and a lot of offshore wind. And so those cars, you would think would qualify. The only two vehicles at the minute with the top level are the little Ford Puma and what's it called? E-Tornado Custom? I forget, it's the commercial van.
Right.
Ford, they get the top level. Again, and you're right, you're absolutely right. None of the Chinese car makers are going to get any of the government grant money that's coming in here because they're making them in China and they're on a ship halfway around the world. So they're doing their own version. They're just sticking $1.5 grand or $3-4 grand off their vehicles. So the cheapest EV here now, the cheapest urban EV, not a quadricycle, but a proper car, is called the Dacia Spring. Dacia is the cheap Romanian bit of Renault. That's under 12,000 now, which I guess for you is about $15,000, 12,000 US pounds sterling, right? So it's 11.9. So that's out the door. We can't advertise any prices here that aren't all taxes included. So that's 12 out the door, done. Which is not the most luxurious EV. It's a little stripped down, but if you need safe, reliable transport that'll do, over 100, well over 100 miles of range, not be the most high performance, probably use your phone or some of the entertainment system in the car, but the Dacia Spring, for a little more, the Leap motor, which is Stellantis and Leap motor, their joint venture, about £1,000 more, the little T03 is really compelling. And they're doing their own version. So cheap EVs here, they're a big deal, guys. They're a really big deal. You guys haven't got it yet, but you've got a great used market in the US. Depreciation's hit you. So
Yeah.
So, hey, Andrew, I was curious. So what do you think is going to happen to used EV prices after this $4,000 incentive goes away? So I have to sell my my Tesla Model 3 in October for reasons I haven't disclosed publicly yet. But
he's not going to prison. Don't
Are
worry.
you getting a Daytona as well?
I am not. I'm not. I should be seeing some interesting EVs though in my near future. But so I need to sell my car, and I'm probably I'm going to sell it for less than I owe on it, which really sucks. But so I'm really kind of anxious about this. It's like, how much am I going to end up losing on this whole deal? And so 2018 Tesla Model 3, 70,000 miles with full FSD.
Which is a plus.
I'll take whatever pluses I can get at this point.
In the Tallahassee area, it's a celebrity VIP car. Don will sign it. That adds at least $5. So you know who to contact if you want that car. So in terms of used prices, where does it, like, Andrew, where do you think it goes from here, like from October 1st? It's hard to tell. Like, we're not going to hold you to it.
Okay, so as you both were talking, I was writing down some points because I have 4 main points. And the first thing is, when I was talking about these tax credits earlier, I was mainly just focusing on the used tax credits. But I think we definitely need to talk about new tax credits too. And the first thing is, there's going to be some normalization on used EV prices in general. So for instance, right now we get $7,500 off, and let's just use easy numbers. Let's say we're in a state that has incentives as well. Let's just say $10,000 off an EV, just to make our numbers easy. So you have a $40,000 EV new, and then you get $10,000 off. Instantaneously, that car's $30K, $30,000. So it's no surprise that they're depreciating a lot because you get such a substantial amount of money off the MSRP of the car. So people are like, hey, these EVs are depreciating way too much. But it's like, okay, you got $10,000 in incentives. Do you expect it to be worth $35,000 when you paid $30,000 for the car effectively? So that's a really interesting thing. Second off, automakers always offer incentives on new cars, even ones that don't qualify for the tax credit. So you can go to Stellantis's website. Mention on FSD. I think FSD is worth more on the private party market, not on trade-in. So, because But I guess back to tax credits. So automakers always offer money off. You can check any Stellantis dealership; they're going to be offering $20,000 off their Ram 1500s, Ram 2500s, etc. But even on like Nissan Ariya, that's a $40,000 car. Nissan is offering $10,000 bonus cash right now on the Ariya, and then plus like $1,000 for loyalty. So if you had a previous Nissan, $11,000 off an Ariya, and none of that's a tax credit. So automakers just typically offer pretty substantial sums amount of money on their cars, and we could just logically expect that with the tax credit going away, the manufacturer incentives will increase. Now, the big issue is going to be for leasing. So leasing, you get that $7,500 incentive for all cars, for all EVs, regardless of manufacturing location. And that that's a lot of money. So we saw those $0 a month leases in Colorado late last year on the Fiat 500Es because you got, I believe it was like $5,000 state incentive plus $7,500 tax credit. And now you're looking at $12,500 off the lease price, which basically summed to the total amount of lease payments you would pay on the 500E, which I still don't think it should be worth that much on lease. They should actually probably have given you money to get one because there's no way that car's difference between the MSRP and residual would be that much money. I don't think. So there were a lot of games being played basically. But yeah, I think at least in terms of leasing, leasing is definitely going to be more expensive. And a lot of EVs like BMW, the majority of their cars are leased. And that's how you get those really nice payment numbers like $399 a month, $4,000 down on the BMW i4 and stuff like that. So I think it's definitely going to affect leasing. Leasing is probably going to go down in the short term. But automakers always offer incentives, and automakers never really had issues getting their gas cars off the lots with incentives. So yeah, interesting,
isn't it?
I think it's definitely going to be, so yeah, short term, definitely numbers are probably going to go down, but I think it's going to jump back up. And people were buying Teslas like crazy when the tax credit ended in 2021, I believe. Now, granted, the market was insane with chip shortage, etc. But I don't think it's going to be the end of the world for sure. And I think some states might increase their incentives. Like I know California said that they might reintroduce a tax credit. And considering how much I pay in taxes here, I really hope they do.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of letting the market decide. I know all of the arguments, trust me, I've talked about them for 7 years on my podcast, for immature markets needing support, government support. I mean, hell's bells. China said in 2005, we want to be a world leader in EVs because we can't beat Detroit in combustion, but we can beat the world on EV. And they had a, whatever it is, the China 2025 plan we're in now. And they have given billions, hundreds of billions in subsidies. So I'm not being naive about it. I am also a fan of letting the market shake itself out a little bit. It toughens people up. It toughens you up both in terms of pricing, dealers, OEMs, about the products on sale. It makes things a bit more brutal. So there's loads of reasons why you should have them and lots of reasons why the market can thrive without them. Also, in my day-to-day life, I report on the EV market around the world, which is flying. And I just don't see... I'm no economist, you know that. I just don't see the United States, which is one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world, home of Silicon Valley. EVs are very high-tech. EVs are the future. We all know we'll be driving EVs one day. But the timelines will change. Some country, like Norway's there. Norway last month was 98% pure BEV. Norway's done. The US will be done one day. I just don't see the US as a collective saying we want to go backwards. The US has always been a forward-thinking country in so many ways. Unburdened by the need to look back as we do here in Europe, particularly in this country where so many people hark back to an empire. Like you guys always look forward. You're about the next greatest thing. I can't imagine the United States being like, we don't want EVs. So, but that's just me. I'm not backing that up with data or anything like that. I just feel like the US is not going to reject electric vehicles. So I don't know. It feels like it's crazy to suggest that 4% would be, the share. Also, RJ Scaringe, Rivian CEO, went on our friends at Inside EVs, their podcast recently. Brilliant. Please go check it out. And loads of interesting things coming out from that when RJ said about the tax credit going. And he was the same. He's like, yeah, if you're a pure EV maker like us at Rivian, it's great because it toughens everybody up to look at the cars by what they're worth and what you get. He said, and we make better products at that price than anyone else. So they've obviously we'll move on to Rivian now. They have been planning on building their huge factory in Georgia for some time to manufacture their R2. Now the R2 will start in their current facility. First announced in December 2021, it was going to be having cars rolling out by the end of 2024. Rivian changed course and expanded its normal Illinois facility for production instead. But now it's begun work again. We had groundbreaking. Was it this week, Dom? The groundbreaking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. 45 miles.
I saw our friend Isaiah was up there hanging out with RJ and the gang.
Sweet. 45 miles east of Atlanta. A kind of unfortunate timing because it's the same week or so that the federal tax credit goes. RJ was completely not dismissive of that in the long term, but just it shakes it out. It forces you to judge a car on how good they are, and he knows R2 is going to be really, really good. They also announced R3 at the R2 event. I wish they hadn't, kind of, because people got excited over that. But that's 2028. Let's forget about it. Back burner stuff, right? R2, Dom, really big deal for Rivian. It will start in Illinois, like I say. But your thoughts on the sort of long-term play of Rivian?
So this was what was the? Let me just pull this up here real quick. So it's not for some reason my there it comes.
Diane
So
I went to the Rivian groundbreaking community event.
Oh,
said Diane Wallace.
interesting.
Sweet, that's brilliant. What a great. I was curious about that because Rivian had some pushback from some parts of the community, and I wondered how locked down it would be in terms of not getting out of hand or protests and stuff. But it looked pretty cool. That's amazing. I'll take a. There you go. Nice one.
So the Wall Street Journal pitches the story like this: Rivian is building a Georgia factory in the face of an EV slump. So of course that's the the news in America. People are expecting EVs. I mean, they're not selling like they are in Europe or China, and they expect those sales to go down. And there's some doom and gloom, especially around from people like the Wall Street Journal. So by in many respects, it does look to some people like it's a terrible time to build an EV factory. But personally, I think this timing is great. It's because the sooner you build this, the sooner you can start putting out product, for one thing. And this is going to be built by 2028. So there should be a lot of changes in the landscape by that point. And it's going to be it's the R2, so it's a more affordable vehicle. And the R3 actually begins production that same year that the factory comes up. So by the time this factory is spitting out the R2 is going to be like right there behind it, I think. Or hopefully, if everything goes to plan, which so far it hasn't, because this factory was supposed to be built by in 2024 originally, you're right, and then they changed that plan.
We've not got Isaiah, with this obviously, but was he sort of giving his thoughts on that? Did you see any coverage from him, Dom, in terms of his take?
I didn't get to see a lot of in-depth. I saw on his through his social media presence that he was there, and there's a big field basically right now. So they're doing some driving and on the red clay up there, and because they have this huge amount of just open flat graded area where they can just drive pickup trucks at high speed sideways if they want, and it looks like they did. Just having a good time, just kind of celebrating the start of construction there. But yeah, I think it's I think the timing is good. I think this is but you can't look at what's happening now. You have to look at where we're going to be in several years from now. And then, 2028, that's an election year. So 2029, we may have a different administration with a different, who, want to see people in EVs, who really want to push an environmental or even technological agenda, really, because it's important that we keep up with the world. Our automakers, have to compete in Europe and China with those automakers, and if those automakers are way ahead of us on EV technology, then we're kind of limited to this one market, and that's not good for our companies, right?
Interesting.
What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, no, it's really, I think with that article headline, I mean, obviously I know how it works in media, too, Dominic and Martin, just like you might have whatever story and then the editor will just like put whatever headline. But I think that headline kind of fails to address how long it actually takes to like get a car manufacturing plant assembled and then eventually get cars out, because it is such a long process. And it's like, I don't think the EV slump is as bad as they say, but I mean, the market is going to be completely different in 2028 than it is now. So,
yeah, completely agree. We don't know where it's going to be. I just think let's stay optimistic. If we got the choice of being one of two ways, I think let's stay optimistic on where EVs go, because the tech is so good, especially what Rivian have coming. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Talking of Rivian, before we sign off on them, there you have a micro mobility startup, kind of joint venture, I think, that is called Also, ALSO, which works fine in print. And when you see the capital A, but when you're doing a podcast, as I do every day, and they've called their company name Also, it's really because you have to be careful how you say it. So it makes no sense otherwise. You're listening and you're like, also what? Also is had a leak. One of those. I'm not sure it was a leak, knowing how the media works.
No. I think this was a general leak. Legitimate.
Do you think so? I'm just too cynical. Yeah. I've been broken from years of doing this. This Micah Toll over Electric really awesome.
did the deep dive into the media files. Like I still do. I don't do this with the video, but I still do this with photos, because sometimes like an automaker will put out photos of a thing, like a teaser image, and they'll have it, the lighting all dark down. So back in the day, they didn't really do a good job of that sometimes. So you could like put it in Photoshop and kind of get a really good idea what the vehicle actually looks like. So in this case, if you don't mind me just setting this up a little bit, Martin.
Please do.
So in this case, Rivian put out this like marketing video about their new e-mobility product. So they have a big reveal coming on October 22nd. And so they put out this video, and then Micah Toll over at Electric website, he's really good on all the two-wheel stuff for sure. A lot of just small e-mobility products and two-wheel stuff. Micah's the man. So he went through the video frame by frame, and he found some frames that didn't have the masking on it, showing, hiding the bike. So he was able to pull up some images, and actually we didn't even know it was a bike. Actually, but now we do, because this is kind of what it's going to look like. Yeah,
it looks cool. If anyone knows what is the Go cycle, I don't know if you had the Go cycle where you were. But kind of a chunky frame where everything's inside it. No, wires dangling out. Everything channeled inside and very slick looking. Very cool.
I love the Go cycle.
Modern looking. And by the looks of it, a load area on the back, so to carry with on the back. And
nice shoes too.
Right. There's going to be some penguin-sized Crocs.
I'm going to be the cynic here, and here's what I'm going to say. So, there's so many electric bikes out on the market and so many partnerships with the OEMs. There's like the Porsche electric bike, the Ford Mach-E electric bike, and it's like there's a lot out there. So, I'm not super excited. But
if the bike was if it was $5,000, but it was $2,000 if you bought it with a new vehicle, or if it was free with a Rivian, they might sell a ton of them. It won't be free with a Rivian. I'm just saying, if they made it, if you made you part of the ecosystem, and there's lots of Rivian fans who want to be part of the, Rivian stands a lot for who you are and the kind of car you drive and what you believe in and what have you. So, there's an audience there, but as you say, Andrew, how big is that audience? It's competitive.
Yeah, I think the only electric bike I'd buy is the VinFast one. So
Oh, really?
yeah, they
Really?
have an electric bike too.
Yeah.
I know they
It's
have
cool.
scooters. I didn't really had. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
I
called
know
the
that-
VinFast Dragonfly or something like that. You get one with a VF9. So if you're
Yeah.
interested,
I might be able to. I might have, let's see if I can get the opportunity to try one of those out soon.
Yeah. Very cool. Very
you
cool.
could do like a drag race with all the electric bikes. We could get the the VinFast one, the Ford
Yeah.
one. Be pretty
Yeah.
sweet.
So looking at this image, I'm looking at this bike and I'm thinking not that sexy. You know, it's kind of it's not doesn't have like a visual to me. It doesn't have a whole lot of visual appeal. It's got that big bulky box thing at the bottom of the V part of the frame. But I think it's going to be super smart and do interesting things. So maybe they're going to be able to sell it with that. But man, e-bikes are tough. Are tough. It's a tough market, and especially with this is going to have premium pricing for sure, like $5,000-$7,000. I don't know what the numbers are, but
E-bikes are crazy expensive.
I'm sure this is going to be expensive. I mean, there's some in the States. Like if you go to the electric article about this, there's one company he was talking about. You can get in the States a decent e-bike for like under $1,000.
Okay.
But it's really not. It's the exception to the rule, I think.
Yeah, I bought mine from an auction from like, I don't know, repossessed stock or closing down, whatever. But it had no battery, and it was a couple of £100 or dollars, and then I had to source, the third party battery. In the end, it took me a little while to track it down, but I did that as a project because I was curious, and my e-bike does so many journeys. I had somebody recently ask me on my podcast, you never talk about micromobility and scooters and e-bikes. And I completely agreed with them. There's so much news. So you should go watch Micah, because they do a weekly electric podcast about two wheels anyway. Go sub to that, please. It's brilliant. And Micah is, as Dom says, the man. Because it's often easier to have a conversation around what's the best EV to have than what's the best way to get to the shops. Now, I think it's to ride an e-bike, but that's a harder sell to someone who's giving up petrol or diesel. So you can say, look at this really cool EV. You could go and get this car, and it saves you money, and it's more fun, it's faster, and it's all great. Or don't have a car and use an e-bike. There's more resistance to that, so I don't talk about it a lot because I'm all about promoting EVs on my show. So, I agree, though. E-bike's the way forward for so many journeys. So many journeys. I love my e-bike because I'm lazy, and it does all the work for me. Over here, the regs are, they have to be Pedalecs, so we can't have a throttle grip. You see the ones from Alibaba and AliExpress and the Chinese ones on the road. They are illegal. Hey, I saw a guy got pulled over last week. I was just around here, and a guy had one of them with the big 750 kilowatt motor and stuff. Probably all legal in America.
Right.
But yeah, the police are so busy and under resourced. I totally get it. But yeah, they pulled the guy over and off goes his bike. So crazy.
Over here, it's totally different. Like in the article, Michael was saying, you can't really sell an e-bike without the throttle. People want that. People want to be able to drive their bikes without pedaling necessarily, right? Or have the option at least. And yeah, so pedelecs aren't really a big part of the market. I'm not an e-bike expert by any means. Mystical Electric is pretty knowledgeable with that kind of stuff as well. Our friend Lacey. I don't know. Andrew, do you e-bike?
No, I'd like to. I think it'd be cool. My dad does, and he bought one from bikesdirect.com for I don't know, 1,500, 2,000, but it's really nice.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
it's not like a name brand or anything. I think there's just so many of them on the market. It's like something I'm kind of interested in, but it's like, where do I start? So maybe I'll start with the Also or I don't know, one of them.
Yep. Well, you're doing amazing work on YouTube for Evercars. Evercars Official. If you're watching and listening to this video, you should go and just hit subscribe on that because you're going to love the content. Bump up their sub numbers.
Thank you.
Andrew's doing an amazing job over there, and I'm sure Rivian will want to get one to you for a review. Before we go, a couple of news stories we'll get to. Tesla, some good news for Tesla. They've had some wobbles. In recent news-wise, NHTSA opened up an official investigation into Tesla this week into the door handles, because the door handles being electronic on Model Ys, this was related to the Model Y specifically, 2021 onwards. If you put your baby in your Model Y and then the 12 volt or 16 volt in some Teslas sags or drops, the motor doesn't work in the door handle. Not the end of the world if it's your shopping, unless you use your lose your ice cream in a hot car. Not great if you have a baby. So I suspect a lot of these incidents go unreported, but the NHTSA got a lot of responses, I think, or reports, rather, I should say, about babies being locked in the car. Now, if you're in the car, obviously there's a mechanical way to get out. That's fine, but they have to take babies locked in cars seriously when the glass is being smashed. Franz von Holzhausen, long-term designer, head of design at Tesla, so he speaks on behalf of the company, in a way that very few people can really, said, yep, all that mechanism is together inside the door. It's not a big re-engineering job to have a mechanical part of the door handle in the case of when it goes. And so I think that probably heads that investigation off, or maybe they have to carry on the investigation. Not great news. Quick solution by the sounds of it. Yeah, I mean, door handles are largely a solved problem, my friend. So let's sort that. Also, some good news for Tesla.
This could be a big thing, though. Andrew, what if
it could be a recall? Like if it was a proper recall, then that's every Model Y going back to have four new door handles fitted.
Right, exactly. So they're re-engineering the door handle. So what if they do this now, so that it's mechanical and electronic, so you can open it mechanically from the outside? So if they do this, and NHTSA tells them, okay, now go back and do this to all your Model 3s and Model Ys.
They won't do that. Surely.
Ever produced. I mean, they could, though, if they wanted to.
This is a voltage sag issue. So it's just if you're 12 volt, 16, whatever Tesla's run out.
Sure.
Or
in accidents.
Yeah. Or in accidents as well, to get into the vehicle. Yeah. Not great, but good news. Anyway, before we go, we'll talk about Tesla Model Y increasing production in Germany, which is interesting. Andre Thierig, the manager of the Grünheide plant, told the DPA agency, we currently have very good sales figures and have therefore revised our production plans for the third and fourth quarters upwards. Well, that's good, because the Car Makers Association, the ACEA, themselves said Tesla has been down on the first 6 months of the year 44% in Europe. So what has ever happened in July and August has obviously been very good for Tesla in Europe. Bad figures in Germany last month.
I mean, the only places they're doing good is like, was it Norway? They do decently in Norway. But Norway's a small country, so even if they do good, that's still not very many cars.
Maybe the new Model Ys. Maybe Juniper's catching on. Have you got new Model Ys coming through Evercars there, Andrew? Yet in terms of the refresh Model Y?
Not yet. No, I've driven the new refresh Model Y.
It's great.
It was really nice. Great car. Ventilated seats, really good NVH, like a really solid improved product. So I think new Model Y is pretty awesome. And if I was looking at a new electric SUV, I'd probably gravitate towards that, because it is and plus when you get the base model, you get all the options. So you get the good sound system, everything else. So it's pretty sweet. I like it a lot.
Yeah, nice car. They're making them there, aren't they, in Berlin? So
if I remember correctly, we did an article on this the other day, or maybe yesterday. The German Tesla Model Y in Germany was sold like maybe a third of what it sold in the same time period a year ago. So I'm not sure how they can possibly say they're increasing product. I mean, they have very good sales figures, because I don't see any evidence of that. Like opposite, So I don't know, so I don't know where they're going to make all these cars, or who they're going to sell them to. They're going to mark the price way down and take the Chinese car maker approach of just like slashing the prices to the bare minimum, negative margins, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait and see. So it's a great car. So
yeah,
let's see. All right. That was a text from my son's school, and I have to go get him early. Do you want to carry on and talk about the Mitsubishi Dom, and I'll say goodbye, or shall we wrap things up?
No. No, that's fine. There's Mitsubishi's for your market. It's a rebadged Renault Scenic.
We can call it a day. All right, so
Yes.
make sure you go and subscribe to Evercars Official on YouTube. Check out the content that Andrew is making, and you'll be very pleasantly surprised. It's very, very good. And that's the end of our show today. Questions, comments, leave them on the YouTube channel. Even if you're listening to the audio version in your ears, best place to get in contact with you. I'm going to go and do an early school pickup for some reason. I'll find out what he's done to himself. If you like the show, give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you're not already. But we really appreciate you sharing this with friends, colleagues, anyone who might get something out of having the podcast in their ears every single week. Andrew, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. We will catch you guys again very soon. Hey, Dom, say ciao.
Ciao.